Hello, friends. This is Unit 1, Lesson 14 for second grade. I'm going to split this lesson into two parts. So this will be the first part today. We are going to start solving comparison word problems. So we are going to be comparing two different things in our word problems. You are going to learn how to use two methods to solve these problems. One is called a matchup drawing, and the other one is called comparison bars. Matchup drawings are fine for now, but it will be a good idea to practice comparison bars because you will use them later on in the year in second grade, and you'll also continue to use them in third grade. So let me teach you how to use both of them. So on my board, you can see that I wrote a word problem for you. It says Jane has 6 apples, Ernie has 9 apples. This is actually the start of a word problem. So let's just talk about what we know. So we know that Jane has 6. We know that Ernie has 9. One of my questions could be, who has more apples? So if you had to answer that, you would say that Ernie has more because he has 9. And if I wanted to answer how many more, I could also do that. So for that, what I would do is I'm going to show you first how to draw, how to do a matchup drawing. So what I would do is I would start by drawing what I know about each person. So I'm going to write a J for Jane, an E for Ernie. I know that Jane has 6, so I'm going to draw 6 circles. I'm going to draw them in groups of 5, so they're easy to match up. I know that Ernie has 9, so I'm going to draw them as best as I can right underneath the ones that I already drew. Now what I'm going to do is do the matching up. So I have one right here. Those two match, those two match, those two match, those two match, and those two match. So I know that Ernie has more. He has the leftover. How many more I would find out by counting what I have left. So I know that Ernie has 3 more apples. So this is what we call a match-up drawing. Now, like I said, you can use match-up drawings if you would like. However, I want you to get more used to what are called comparison bars. So if you want to start practicing both today, you can. Let me erase this and I will show you how to do comparison bars. So I'm going to add to this story problem. I'm going to say how many more apples does Ernie have than Jane? Okay, so our comparison bars have a few different parts. I will always tell you to get your comparison bars ready. What I mean by that is you're going to draw one long rectangle. Underneath that long rectangle, you're going to draw a shorter rectangle and an oval or a circle. So when I say get your comparison bars ready, this is what I mean. Then what you're going to do is you're going to label them with the person's names. So we have Jane and Ernie, so we're going to use a J and an E. And whoever has more goes on top. So we determined earlier that Ernie has more. He has 9. So I'm going to put an E up here for Ernie. and a J right here for Jane. Then I need to fill in my boxes and my circle. So this is very similar to a math mountain. I'm going to put whatever the person has in the box. So if I know how many Ernie has, I'm going to put it in the box. So I know that Ernie has 9 apples, so I'm going to put a 9 right here. Now, do I know how many Jane has? Yes, I do. I said that Jane has 6. So whatever number they actually have of the thing that we're talking about, so right now it's apples, goes in the box for that person. Now the oval is the change. So the more, the fewer, whatever our numbers are changing by, that is what goes in the oval. Well, we don't know how many more Ernie has. That is what we are trying to figure out. So we're going to put our question mark right here. And this is where the math mountain comes into play. If I had a math mountain that looked like this, what would I do to solve it? Well, I could either do 6 plus unknown equals 9, or 9 minus 6 equals unknown, and I would solve it. Well, the same thing goes for your comparison bars. This is just like a math mountain. I am missing a partner. If I'm missing a partner, I can solve by adding up, or I can solve by subtracting. So when I do that, I have a 6, 7, 8, 9, or I can draw 9 circles, and I could cross off 6. Here's 5 and 6. Either way, I'm going to get 3. Now let's go back and look at what is our label. So here is my question. Underline my question. Here's my how many. Usually it's the word right after how many. In this case, the word more is right after how many. So would it make sense to say just 3 more? Not quite. So your label is actually going to be more apples. So Ernie has 3 more apples than Jane. So now you know 2 different ways to solve compare word problems. We are going to practice solving the word problems on page 39 in your student activity book. If you would like, you can do the matching drawing, or you can do comparison bars. I will encourage you to do comparison bars at least twice, just to make sure that you're getting used to doing them. I personally like to do comparison bars whenever I can, but if they are a struggle for you right now, that's totally fine. You can practice some matchup drawings as well. All right, so our directions say make a matching drawing, I call it a matchup drawing, or draw comparison bars, write an equation, and solve the problem. So we're going to go back to using our cubes strategy. So first we're going to read our story problem and circle the numbers in units. So it says Ben has 11 library books. If Ben returns 4 books, he will have as many library books as Dale. How many library books does Dale have? So I'm going to go and circle my numbers. So I have 11 and I have 4. I'm going to go find my label. So here's my question. I can start to underline that. Here's my label. So how many? And notice there's no more and there's no fewer here. So our label is just going to be library books. Okay. I need to go box any clue words. So I see the word return. And I think that's it for my clue words. Okay, so Now, this one I'm actually don't like doing comparison bars for, and I don't like doing a normal matchup drawing. So we're going to do this one together, and I'm going to show you what I want you to do. So I know that Ben has 11 library books. So I'm going to draw a B, and I'm going to draw 11 circles. Again, I draw them in groups of 5 to make it easier to count. Now, I know if Ben returns 4, he's going to have the same as Dale. So I'm going to cross off 4 library books. Now, what that means for Dale is going to have the same amount underneath that Ben did. So you don't necessarily have to draw this right here, but you can, because that's going to tell us how many Dale has. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I know that Dale has 7 library books, because Ben had 11, he got rid of 4, and now he has the same as Dale. Like I said, this one's kind of a weird matchup drawing. You could draw your lines like this, but I would rather just draw my 11 circles and cross off 4. Okay, let's move on. This is a better matchup drawing. So it says Shelly washes 14 cars, Amir washes 9 cars. How many more cars does Shelly wash than Amir? So first, let's circle our numbers. We have 14. We have 9. I'm going to go find my label. How many more cars? So here's my question. More cars. There's my label. Yes, you must include more if it's there. Okay, so now I'm going to get my matchup drawing. So I have S for Shelly, A for Amir. I know that Shelly washes 14 cars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And Amir washes 9. Okay, now what I can do is I can match these up to see how many extra or more Shelly did than Amir. So I'm going to line all of these up. And then I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 without a match, which means that Shelly washed 4 more cars than Amir. Now I just realized that we also have to write an equation. So I did not write an equation for number 1, so we'll go back and do that in just a minute. So to write your equation, it's going to be a little different than what we've been doing, but did I count wrong? The answer is not 4 here. I only drew 13. So make sure, boys and girls, that you drew 14. I only drew 13. And then when you have 5 left over, whoops, always good to check your work. So you can either, for your equation, write 14 minus 9 equals 5, or you can do an adding up equation equals 14. But you must have some sort of equation there. Now let's go back to number 1 and write our equation. So I could do, the most natural one would be 11 minus 4 equals box. But you could also do 4 plus box equals 11. Either of those would be just fine, but make sure that you have both. All right, let's go on to number 3. For the next 2, we're going to solve them using comparison bars. So get ready to practice those. If they seem hard now, I promise they will get easier, but they might be hard to start. So it says Gail has 6 peaches in a basket. If Gail gets 5 more peaches, he will have as many peaches as Carl. How many peaches does Carl have? So I'm going to go circle my numbers. Let's see what I have. So I have 6. I have a 5. Here's my question. My label is just peaches, so how many peaches right there? Some clue words. I see more right there, and I think that's it. So let's get our comparison bars ready. So I have, remember when I say get them ready, I mean draw your long rectangle, your short rectangle, and your circle. I know my two characters are Gail and Carl. So I have a C and I have a G. Now I need to figure out who has more. And this is where you really cannot rush. You have to know who has more. You really have to understand the problem. So I know that Gail has 6. The problem is telling me if Gail gets 5 more. So if I give Gail 5 more, he's now going to have as many as Carl. So think about that for a minute. Who has more to start? Gail needs 5 more to have the same as Carl. So Carl has more, Gail has less. Now I need to fill in my numbers. If you remember, any number that goes in your rectangles is what that person exactly has, and my oval is the change or the word that is connected to more or fewer. So let's start by looking at our numbers. I see Gail has 6. So where would my 6 go? My 6 would go in my Gail box. Okay. Now I see the word 5. I see the word or the number 5. I see that 5 is attached to the word more. So anytime a number is attached to the word more or fewer, that is the one that goes in the oval. So I'm going to put my 5 right here. Now, do I know how many peaches Carl has? No, I don't. Look at my question. How many peaches does Carl have? So this is where my question mark goes. Now I can write my equation. Remember, this is just like a math mountain. So these are my partners and my total is on top. So my equation would be 6 plus 5 equals 11. Now maybe you already know that. Maybe you need to count on, use your fingers, whatever, do a double strategy, make a 10 strategy, anything will work, but you should get an answer of 11. So here's your comparison bars, which is like a math mountain, and here is your equation. So your answer is 11 peaches. All right, let's do the last one, and then we're going to stop for today. It says Rob has 12 stamps. Anne has 5 fewer stamps. How many stamps does Anne have? So similar to number 3, but a little bit different. So let's get our comparison bars ready. Remember, that means draw your long rectangle, your short rectangle, and your oval. I have Rob and Anne, so I have an R and an A. I need to figure out who has more. So let's go. Actually, first, before we do that, let's go ahead and use our cube strategy to annotate our math problem. So I have the number 12, and I have the number 5. Here's my question. I see how many. The next word is stamps. I need to box any cube clue words. So I see the word fewer. Okay, now I can go to understand my problem. I know that Anne has 5 fewer. It's telling me that Anne has less. So A is going to go right here. R is going to go right there. Now I have 2 numbers to fill in. If I look at my 12 represents the number that Rob has. So I can see that Rob has 12. I know that that 12 goes in Rob's box right here. Now I see the word fewer right next to 5. So I know that the 5 is going to go in my oval because anytime a number is attached to the word fewer or more, that number goes in the oval. And if I look at my question, how many stamps does Anne have? That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what goes in Anne's box right there. Remember, this is just like a math mountain, so I'm solving for a partner. So I would have 5 plus box equals 12. I can also solve 12 minus 5 equals box. Either way, you could solve this problem. Maybe you already know it. Cross off 5 and get an answer of 7. You could also count on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you have 7 right there. So we're going to continue practicing with comparison bars tomorrow. We will finish page 40 when we do that tomorrow. But that's it for today. Thanks, friends.